music, the home of picking and printing and stuff. If y'all don't read the paper, you're uninformed. If you read the paper, you're misinformed. But if you get the news at the Golden Soul, you're right on the money. Y'all just take a break and set a spell, because I've got news for you, and it just flies out of my mouth like a greased pig loose at County Fair. Glad to have Shane with us tonight. From somewhere near Hazel Green, Alabama, by way of Nashville. All this cold weather we had a few days ago, Paul and Shane decided they'd go ice fishing. They came back just all exhausted. I said, y'all must have caught a lot of fish. Shane said, not a one. Said, by the time we got a hole big enough to put the boat in, we was too tired to fish. I've heard if you had a belt buckle bigger than your fist, that you was a real star. We must have a real star on stage tonight, Ray. Don't lie, it's you. It's got one of them brand new ribbons with L&N written all over it. But,
hey, Minnie, how'd you ever see that belt buckle?
you can see it when he stands up. Back when Ray was in school, the teacher said, if you repeat it 10 times, that you'll have it for the rest of your life. So Ray started repeating, Dorothy, Dorothy, Dorothy. You had invited the preacher over for dinner, and they had all kinds of chicken. They had fried chicken, chicken dressing, chicken dumplings, chicken casserole. They went and sat out on the porch after dinner, and the preacher said that was the best chicken I ever ate. Said about that time his chicken come running around with about 2 feathers. The preacher said, what's wrong with that chicken? You said, I don't know, they're dying off faster than we can eat them. There's a trooper pulled Joyce over and because her hand signals was getting confusing to him. He said, first you put your hand up like you're going to turn right, and then you wave your hand up and down, then you turn left. She said, well, she decided not to turn right. Officer said, well, what about the up and down? Joyce said, I was erasing. This fella said to Linda, said, gentlemen prefer blondes. She whispered, but I'm not really a blonde. He said, well, I don't mind. I'm not really a gentleman. Glad to have Steve back with us tonight. He's been out for a while. The detective was trying to give a description of the suspect, and he asked Steve, said, does the man have a mustache? Steve said, I don't think so, but if he does, he keeps it shaved off. Irene was fixing breakfast for her husband, Bob, and Bob said, this oatmeal's a little bit crunchy. He said, how long did you cook it? She said, you supposed to cook it? Glad to have Chuck on the guitar with us tonight. Chuck jumped out of the airplane, pulled ripcord to his parachute, and nothing happened. So he pulled his reserve chute, nothing happened. About that time his man was coming up instead of down. Chuck said, do you know anything about parachutes? That man said, no. Do you know anything about gas stoves? We was discussing back in the room about people being old, and I'd just like to give y'all some perks that come with being over 50. There's nothing left to learn the hard way. You quit trying to hold your stomach in no matter who walks in the room. Your joints are more accurate than the weatherman. And your secrets are safe with your friends because they can't remember them either. I'd just like to leave y'all with this thought. In the beginning, God created the earth and rested. Then God created man and rested. Then God created woman. Since then, neither God nor man has rested. It's been some good sitting on the porch weather the last couple of days. Cousin Buford and Johnny was sitting out on the porch reminiscing. Cousin Buford said, "Johnny, was that you or your brother got killed in World War II?" I bet Shane had never got to hear Dewey sing "I Met My Baby in the Porta-John line." Maybe I'll let you borrow that for your next CD. Glad to have Paul's big brother David with us for about 3 minutes. When Paul and David was little boys, they'd been misbehaving, so their mama asked the preacher if he'd talk to them about it. The preacher said he'd be glad to, so he called Paul in first, and the preacher said, "Where is God?" Paul just looked at him and didn't say anything. He said again, "Where is God?" Paul was beginning to get nervous. Third time, the preacher asked, "Where is God?" Paul jumped up, ran out the door, grabbed David by the hand, went all the way home in his bedroom and slammed the door. David said, "What's wrong, Paul?" Paul said, "David, don't go in there. God's missing. They think we got him." J. Fred was driving through this small town and he got pulled over for speeding, and the officer said, "You're speeding, you're going to jail." J. Fred said, "But officer," the officer said, "Just be quiet, you're going to jail." J. Fred said, "But sir, I can explain." The officer said, "I told you to be quiet." He put J. Fred in the slammer, and several hours later he come back and said, "You'll have to stay in here till the chief gets back," but said, "You're lucky." Said, "He'll be in a good mood today. He's going to his daughter's wedding." J. Fred said, "I wouldn't be so sure about that. I'm the groom." Well, we're missing Earl and Glenda's little boy Patrick tonight. Earl and Glenda's little boy couldn't get the ketchup out of the bottle, so Glenda's hitting the bottle trying to get the ketchup out. Phone rang. It was the preacher wanting to talk to Glenda. Patrick said, "She can't come to the phone right now. She's hitting the bottle." Steve and J. Fred and Chuck was on a hunting trip, and they saw this sign on the pasture fence that said, "No trespassing. Violators will be shot." They said, "It's dark. Nobody will ever know." About that time, they saw the lights of a vehicle coming toward the fence, and they quickly climbed up some trees, and it was the farmer. He said, "I know I saw somebody climb these trees." So on the first tree, Steve was just real silent and still. On the second tree, he said, "Who's up there?" J. Fred said, "Ooh." He said, "Well, maybe it's just an owl." So on the third tree, he said, "Who's up there?" Chuck said, "Moo." You know, Dew was out looking for Herschel, and he spotted him. Herschel was just out standing right out in the middle of the field. Dew hollered over and said, "Herschel, why are you standing out in that field?" Herschel said, "I'm trying to win the Nobel Peace Prize." Dew said, "The Nobel Peace Prize?" Herschel said, "Yeah, they give it to people who's out standing in their field." Joyce and I decided we'd go in the cattle business, and we'd saved up $600 to buy a bull. Joyce went everywhere hunting one. She finally found one in Texas for $599. So she went to Western Union to send me a telegram, and the man told her to be $1 a word. She said, "Well, I can just send one word." The man said, "Well, how's she gonna know what you mean?" Joyce said, "Just say comfortable." Said, "My sister reads real slow. She'll know what I mean. She'll say, comfortable." Y'all remember the Mary Harvey, good like